Good day, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. Yeah, I'm so delighted to be part of this conversation because it's talking about something that is very essential for everyone. Of course, we cannot do without peace. Peace. So it's quintessential that everyone needs peace in our world. So as we are preparing for the World Day of Peace, it's quite something very important and very good that everyone seems to be getting more interested in preaching peace, especially during this time of the pandemic that all of us are facing. So on my own part, I think it's not just a coincidence because as a priest and in my pastoral activities and also my active involvement in issues of justice and peace as the coordinator of justice, peace, and integral development here in Cape Verde for my congregation. I think I have a lot of activities and experiences to share with you. And the fact that I have come to understand that the project of peace or initiative of peace is everyone's prerogative, and the project of peace concerns all of us, so that no one puts his hands or her hands while there are emerging issues. So when we say it is not my business, it turns out to be everyone's business in the long run. So I want to contribute in the area of building peace structures, you know, from what I saw in the flyer, that peace starts with me and you. And if peace starts with me and you, if we don't have the enabling structures that will enable the practice of peace, it will be quite difficult to see sustainable, just, and stable peace. We may be having negative peace. You know, they say sometimes we live in uneasy calm when we are calm, but the calm is uneasy, you know. So I'm thinking about if we can build structures that will enable sustainable peace in our world. And it's possible. It's like planting a seed. It's like planting a seed that will yield fruits in the future for us and for our future generations unborn. It's like building attitudes that will stay with us. It's like also renewing or looking again at the systems that we have. The truth is that most of us were born into some systems that do not encourage cooperative existence, harmony, especially religious harmony. Some of us were born into systems where peace is elusive and where we see the culture of violence, the culture of terrorism, the culture of violence and war, you know, because some of the systems we find ourselves, and we have frequently experienced systems where we keep rancor, malice, bitterness, and so on. So the leaders of peace projects should be thinking about how we can build structures that will enable for sustainable peace. Now, how do we go about it? I'm thinking that there should be national peace structure in all the countries. Not that we don't have them. I just mean we have some of these things, but who are those manning them? Because talk about human resources, because it is human beings who plan for peace, who build for peace. But sometimes some of the structures we have, they are not functional. So I'm talking about functional structures that will be proactive in responding to emerging issues while reinforcing larger and longer change process. So we're talking about structures that can, where leaders of peace projects can like identify peace builders who will not take sides, or who will not, or who will resist the temptation to take sides. So we're talking about structures where leaders will have the heart to building relationships, among people who are not like-minded, but who are interdependent. We're talking about structures where we have leaders who would ensure that everyone is included in peace projects, not undermining that no single individual, no single person, no single organization can bring about peace in isolation of other people. So peace projects will require leaders who would create a balance, integrate our collaborative and cooperative efforts towards peace. So when we have these structures, we can be sure that peace is possible. I mean, not just anyhow peace, because when we talk about peace, sometimes we say, let us make peace. But then some efforts towards peace are just waste of time because we don't have the structures that will enable for a just, a stable and sustainable peace. So when we don't have these structures, when we don't have these structures, it becomes peace project becomes a waste of precious time and energy. So that is why I am thinking on my own part that certain structures have to be put in place, like structures that support justice, because without justice, you can't have peace. Structures that support corporate existence and harmony, religious harmony. Structures that support love. Structures that support active dialogue and round table discussion. We have so many examples, especially in Africa and here, where the stoke of or the embers of violence are being supported and sponsored, even by those who give themselves as leaders of peace projects. On the international level also, we'll talk about building structures that enhance corporate existence among nations. I don't want to sound too pessimistic, but sometimes we have heard many people criticizing even the UNO of being hypocritical and biased in handling emerging situations of violence and management of conflicts among developing and underdeveloped nations who, because of ignorance and poverty on their part, So if actually we are serious about building lasting peace, we also must try to look at the structures that will enable this lasting peace to be sustained. Because if we don't build the structures, it cannot stand. So we'll only be making some kind of parasitical attitude towards peace, whereas we are not really building peace that can be sustained locally and globally. So I think that is just what I want to share. Maybe if there's any kind of expansion, maybe question, I can go further to explain more what I mean by peace structures, both in the national level and the international level, that can enable peaceful coexistence among people. Thank you.